Welcome to the last video in this series. My name is Megan McDonough, the CEO of Wholebeing Institute. Bertrand Russell wrote, "The happiness that is genuinely satisfying is accompanied by the fullest exercise of our faculties and the fullest realization of the world in which we live." This cultivation of our own potential is critical in order to realize it. I've been studying health and wellness my entire professional life, which is unbelievable as it seems to me, spans over 30 years. Where the heck did the time go? I started out in healthcare. I worked in diagnostic imaging after studying nuclear medicine. My first job, I worked in a hospital. I injected people with radioactive material. I know it sounds nasty. It had a good ending, though. I imaged different organ systems, bones, the brains, hearts, and more. Eventually, I ended up doing a whole lot of traveling for my job, and I ate way too much crummy airport food. And that's when I started to take yoga. And yoga, it changed me. Most importantly, it changed how I thought about well-being. It started me on the path of really exploring this question of human flourishing. Not just being well, not just being without disease, but actually flourishing. So yoga was my entry point, and as great as yoga is, and still is for me, it's not the whole enchilada. At least it wasn't for me. The big picture came together when I worked alongside Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar. He's a leader in the field of positive psychology. He taught me a new language from this blossoming field. The ideas, they weren't new. Appreciation, gratitude, using your strengths. That's something your grandmother would likely advise. But it was new because of the rigorous research that underpinned it. Randomized control studies, the gold standard of research, was how this field was being approached. I guess then we could validate Graham's good advice. Alongside positive psychology, great strides are being made in neurobiology, understanding how we can constructively work with our own mind to rewire our brains in healthier ways. The studies on mindfulness, for example, they're absolutely exploding as scientists explore and then teach us how to focus and use the power of our own attention. More researchers jump on board when they created a new field called positive organizational scholarship. And this emerged to really help us create the conditions within our organizations that help people flourish at work. Taking these tools and practicing them in a community, as we do here at Wholebeing Institute, is a powerful elixir for positive change. I think there's most definitely a movement afoot. Now, we could see this positive impact on the work that we do here at Wholebeing Institute on ourselves and on others, and we wanted more of it. And that's why Tal and I co-founded the Wholebeing Institute. Spire, which you've been learning about in these videos, Spire is the foundation of our courses because it gives you a 360-degree view of your whole self. It's like looking through your life through different lenses, each giving you a new perspective on the whole. Just like perspective was a powerful tool that these Renaissance masters could use to create great artwork, perspective is a powerful way to shape the masterpiece of your life. I guess you could say that, perspective creates great art and perspective creates a great life. To help you use Spire for painting the masterpiece of your life, make sure you download the workbook that's on this page. You'll want to print it out because we're going to put it to use in this video. Almost daily, at least once, if not more, you're probably asked, "How are you doing?" Now, if you, like most of us, answer that question in a very off-the-cuff way, we say, "I'm fine." Now, that's probably okay by you and probably okay with the person who asked the question. We've become used to not really knowing or being known by others. Knowing how we're really doing, though, gets to the heart of where we're at in our lives. How are you? Answering this question for ourselves, it takes reflection. It's better than off the cuff. And the truth is, the question isn't just one question, it's 5. That's where the Spire check-in comes in. When you understand the 5 perspectives that create the whole of your well-being, you can see more clearly not only how you're doing, how you're really doing in each aspect. You can see more clearly what steps you can take to improve in all aspects. The Spire check-in is an easy way to see a bigger perspective of well-being. Let's walk through an example so you can put it to use. Here's step 1. The first step of the Spire check-in is to simply draw a line where you rate yourself on each aspect of Spire. The higher up the line is, the more positive the rating. Now, this is not rocket science. It does not have to be an exact number. It's a best guess of where you think you are in this moment, on this day, in this aspect of Spire. In this way, you cultivate self-awareness. Take a look at my Spire check-in in the workbook. You can see how I rated my physical low that day, and I rated my intellectual high in that particular moment. Ready for step 2? Step 2 is to actually explore the ratings you just made. What's behind each of them? Name some of the drivers. There's reasons behind where you rate each of those Spire components. So this gives you a snapshot. For example, in my worksheet, you can see that I was researching a subject that I found absolutely compelling and fascinating. So my intellectual was high. I could also see that my physical was low. I wasn't sleeping well. You know, all those great ideas, they were running through my head and keeping me awake. So although my intellectual engagement was high, my physical was low. So see if you can identify those contributing factors for yourself in your Spire check-in that made you rate it the way that you did. You ready for step 3? Step 3 is this. Once you see the whole, this is the time you can take constructive action. This is when you really recognize what step has the greatest leverage. Look at your Spire check-in. What action would raise your overall sense of well-being, even if only slightly? And by slightly, it could be 1%, 2%, 5% better. What holds the greatest leverage? When I did this exercise for myself on this day, my best action was absolutely clear. It was to take a nap, and I did. I loved it. I felt so much better after I did that. Use the Spire check-in often, even daily. It's one of those tools, you know, that it's one tool of many that helps us prioritize positivity and resilience. And even if we do it once, it's not enough, because practice and deeper learning matters. Now, to that end, I'm very excited to say that soon we'll be opening up the Introduction to Wholebeing Happiness, the course. I'm very excited, can't wait to tell you about it. We're not quite ready yet, but when we do, it's a chance for you to continue to learn and apply the work personally and professionally. Here's something for you to reflect upon now that this free series is ending. What is it you could gain if you learn more about the science of whole-being happiness? What is it that you hope for? Now, I can tell you what I hope for. I hope that you'll join me in the upcoming course, The Introduction to Wholebeing Happiness.